What's up, guys? I'm going to walk you through the most important part of hiring a new employee, and that's how do we pay them? How much can we afford to pay that employee? Now, I got to make a disclaimer here really quick that it changes drastically amongst every industry, and you can't just take what I'm about to give you and apply it to anything in the general knowledge of what I'm going to give you right now. But again, I'm going to give you an example for a specific type of company and a specific role. My name is Bryce. I'm the founder of Vanguard Partners. We are CFO for hire. We come in and we help companies make sure that their financials are in order, all the way from hiring a new employee to figuring out how to have more cash in their pocket at the end of the month. So the first thing when hiring somebody is how you're going to pay them. Obviously, we got to figure out something that makes sense for the business, and it also makes sense for the individual employee that you're hiring to keep them for a long period of time. What I would say, number one, is always try and stay away from day rates and hourly pay, because employees are not encouraged to produce at those levels, right? They're encouraged when it affects their income. They're encouraged to work harder and produce more for you. So I always try to get my business owners, and even in my own businesses, pay by commissions or by a flat rate on the work that's actually being performed. So what I would tell you is, again, commission-based pay is the absolute best thing that you can do for your team and for your business. So for example, there's a handful of different business positions inside of a company that you can pay on commission and piece rate. Now, you can do it from your sales team all the way to your office staff and everything in between. I'm going to give you an example of a company that we worked with, and we have a lot of tile setting crews, and the tile setting crews were always paid on a day rate. So in this day rate, they would obviously get paid for X amount of dollars for an 8-hour shift. Now, the problem with that is that they weren't encouraged to actually produce a whole lot more. They were encouraged just to work 8 hours. So we switched them over to piecework, where they get paid X amount of dollars for doing a job, no matter how fast or how long it took. And we actually saw that we didn't even need as many employees. We had to hire less because the teams were producing more work. So we had to manage less people, and the teams that were actually with us were making more money because they were producing way more, and their paychecks nearly doubled on a weekly basis. And again, our management team had to manage half the amount of staff to do the same amount of work. So it was a huge priority to transition your team, and it's a painful one at times because they're so used to getting paid a certain way. And I know a lot of employees have this really preconceived idea of getting paid on commission or piece rate, but you've got to walk them through it. And if you can transition your team, your company's going to be way better for it. My next point, and this is so crucial, so many business owners that we work with, especially early on in their business when it's really new and they're hiring the first handful of employees, their pride gets in the way of how much their employees are making compared to themselves. And a new business doesn't produce a whole lot of bottom line profits at the end of the day, depending again on what industry it's in. And so you got to get your pride out of the way and make sure that you're paying your team what they are well deserved to be paid. And so I have no problem with my team making more money than me if they're producing, and I can see the long-term picture at play. There's a great example of this. Henry Ford actually was spoken to about why he paid so much. He actually paid his employees double the value that anybody else in the industry would pay, but he got way more than double the value of production out of them because he paid them so well. So getting your pride out of the picture and paying your team well is something that you'll never regret in your business. So listen, I realize that this sounds like a bunch of fluff, but I'm going to give you the exact process and the numbers to pay attention to when figuring out how much to pay a new employee. So I'm going to give you the example of a sales position. Now, again, for industries, it could be anywhere from 2% all the way up to 20% commission pay for sales positions. Depends on the dollar value of your average ticket and the industry, again, that you're in and selling in, what your product and service is. But I'm going to give you this example and what it looks like. Let's say that our expectation of an employee is to produce $100,000 worth of sales every single month. Now, let's use the round percentage of 10%. Can we afford to pay 10% to the sales position, which is $10,000 a month, $120,000 a year? Now, to figure that out, we have to count the cost of our average products. So on $100,000 worth of sales that we expect this employee to sell, well, what's our cost on it? That $100,000, first, we're going to take off supplies and materials. So if you're a GC, what does the supplies and materials cost? If you're AC, electric, plumbing, landscaping, how much are your supplies and materials? Let's call it 20%, right? So we've got 10% for the salesperson and 20% for materials. We're totaling for 30 right now. So the next thing we have to go ahead and calculate is the back end labor, right? How much does it cost for my team? Again, if I'm a GC, if I'm an electrician, plumber, AC, whatever, landscaping, it doesn't matter what business and industry you're in, how much does your labor cost to keep your product and actually produce your product? So let's say it's another 20%. So we got 10% commission, 20% for materials, and another 20% for your labor on the back end's 50%. Now we've got to also calculate in our overhead. How much does it take to keep your lights on every single month, right? How much is your rent for the building that you're in, the vehicles that you have, how much gas is going to cost you, your insurances and taxes and all that stuff, your software. How much does it take just to keep your lights on every single month? Let's say it's $25,000. Well, that's 25% of this $100,000 that we're talking about. And let's say he's your only sales guy. So you're producing 100 grand, right? So again, we got 10% commission, 20% for your products, another 20% for your back end labor, 25% for your overhead, which leaves you 25% for your net profit bottom line, which again, this is the whole purpose of being in a business, is to make money, right? So is 25% enough for you? Can you actually afford to go down to maybe 20 instead of 25% net profit, so we can hand 5% more commissions over to our salesperson and make the position that more enticing for them? Or maybe we really want to hit 30% margins, so we have to drop their commission down to 5% instead of 10. That's how you're going to figure out. It's a really simple example, but you have to count the cost. So listen, the next two people that DM me on Instagram the word commission, I'm going to walk you through how much you can actually afford to pay your next hires. And listen, if you've got any value out of this video, next week we're going to be talking about how to fire people when it's time to fire. So go ahead and consider hitting that subscribe button. I'll see you there.